Hey everybody, welcome. This is Tava DRC from Crossbody Unity. I've been through a lot of things through the years, but I've never been through anything that was unpleasant, like ministry, Levitical patriarchy. That is the patriarchy, all white, in the body of Christ in ministry. I was immune to it. I was not brought up around it. I'd never been around it in black or white churches of different kinds of Christian movements or in life. I'd never experienced misogyny. I'd never experienced sizing me up, typecasting me. I've never experienced big bossism. So we're trying to let you know that it is doctrinal and it is subgroup, that it can be repented from, recanted from, and trained differently for authority. I believe it comes from a lot of the poor me authority from the hardscrabble law back in the day, passed down in mentoring, but it's not seemingly caught up with the times, and it is very, you can have all the gifts and music and fine arts and good preaching and do whatever you want to do, whatever red state politics you want or blue state, but if you're going to treat certain kinds of people, minorities, females, lone strangers, the atypical, maybe with a handicap, if you're going to treat them with disrespect because your people are clueless, having been raised around it, soaked in this culture, immersed in it, tolerated, and it has to be dealt with for the harvest. This is not playtime. This is the Lord's time, and everybody needs to be on their best relationship respect, from the highest to the very lowest, for the people who take in that greet you at the door, that lead a cell group, that sit out in the audience, that are your favorite people, because I had never been around the body of Christ that had such a flagrant ministry respecter of persons until showbiz hit fine arts worship, and a lot of it being called in self-prophetic. Are they prophetic or are they pathetic at this point? Because it's the fruit that matters, not the talent, not the gifts. And we put up with this high horses, but it has been such a controlling, authoritarian, and undermining spirit, Saul spirit, that will pursue, target, that will not think about the lost, has no compassion, has lost his first love, and is in danger of being dismissed, And we're trying to really provoke it to new self-examination. I'm not accusing you, white witch watchers. I'm not accusing you all. I'm just saying it's your doctrine. I'm not talking to the humans, but the humans are involved. They have their choices. But I found back in the day, like I was sharing on parts 1 and 2 of this, that I would be singled out, and I had met 30 other women and one man that were all white, singled out by the white Levitical patriarch accusers of that rural area, never had been around it, and when I'd been in ministry before they moved into town, up in my location, then I had been with many others and still had contact with them that knew I was not like they thought I was. The reason I believe is after studying it, because this really grabbed my attention. God had called me to study the body of Christ as a servant leader, not to be up on stage, but I had my own ministry, my own right, but to be sent as an embed to study the fruit of the doctrines being preached. And it turned out, that was in 1976 on, it turned out that as we went along through the years, TV and society affected ministry more than we would ever have known. Some of it is the subculture of shepherding LP, Levitical patriarchism, which is, I call it the patriarchy of the ministry. Having a men's ministry, I can say I respect men. Was raised by Christian men, family men, who are not biased, so I never had any issue about men. It is only a one doctrinal point of the significant misogynist Levitical patriarchy and bias. I don't know what they are. It's a mean spirit that targets, and even though I am mature, I don't know why they cannot discern me as a minister, even as a human, after many states. So the Lord had put on my heart, Teva, if you see something, the reason I'm this forceful, this strong, and so well versed on it, if you see something that hurts people, said the Lord, along my journey from age 24 to now, if you see something that hurts people just for going to church, just for trying to worship me, or it hurts my good name, that is my sign. I need you to teach on it. So that is why I'm teaching on it. I'm out here at the grassroots level. You can hear all the grassroots activity going by, making their motors gun. Anyway, so it was never in my life, in my radar, and I had people speaking in my life about Big Boss. I had never been around Big Boss country law preening ministry, and so this is why we're trying to make a big deal, because I literally have been accosted by this same old WELP spirit. I have been prayed against by their prayer warriors. I have been pop psychology diagnosed by the WELP theology. And it really bothers me as a prophet, apostle, as a seer, because I know it. And the only reason I know it is I have the gift of discernment of spirits that activates when, I'm in danger or it's trying to come after me in the spiritual demonic sense. And I would call this Big Boss law, country seers gone wild, and that it needs humility. It needs to revamp its theology, that it's about the cross, the pure hearts, not the gifts. It needs to balance on community, not turf protecting, to know faith and not just try to have spiritual violence by reading people and divining people and familiar spirits. It needs to get over itself and the occult and cease this witchcraft. Cease this witchcraft. God is coming soon. God bless.